What up, everybody? It's your man, damednydc. Two mics up. Back again, man. We here again this beautiful Monday. And tonight we talk about raising the bar. Now, some of you may think that you know what that's all about. But I can tell you right now today's guest is an amazing young woman that I've had the pleasure to get to know over the last couple of months. We used to rock together every Thursday morning in a networking group. And I'm fascinated, one, when you have a sister who's really out here taking on raising the bar in a way that I don't think a lot of us really pay attention to in our community. Some of us may have personal injury problems, or we all may know a family member who's unfortunately dealing with some type of criminal situation and may be in need of, some type of defense. Today's guest, this sister is really all about that. She repping, Baltimore City, Maryland, if I remember correctly. But I'm gonna bring her on. I'm gonna bring her to the stage. I'm gonna let her introduce herself to you all. Ebony Vincent, what's happening, sis? How you doing today?
Hi, Damon. Thanks for having me. Hi, my name is Ebony Vincent. I am the founder of Raising the Bar Legal Services, a Maryland criminal defense and personal injury law firm. Right here, we're in Maryland, but I practice primarily out of Baltimore City and Baltimore County, and it's been fun.
See, this is what I'm talking about. That energy right there, ladies and gentlemen. That was the first thing that really that really draws you to someone, is the energy and the attitude and that smile. And Ebony, I have to ask, being in Baltimore City, and if I remember correctly, you're born and raised in Baltimore. You're from the area. So what was it there? Because some areas are a little bit harder than others. Some of us grew up a little tougher than others. But to get into law, what was it that really got you interested in law to begin with?
Okay, so I've always had a fascination with just criminal defense, everything. When I was a child, I wanted to be a cop, and my mom was just like, "Oh no!" And Cops would be my favorite TV show with America's Most Wanted. So I've just always been into like the whole criminal life. I mean, it sounds so bad, right? I've always been fatigued about, intrigued about not necessarily what someone did, but why someone did it.
Right.
And then in 2016, I had an opportunity to intern at the Baltimore City State's Attorney's Office, and it just gave me a different perspective into what I would be doing as a prosecutor if I was to join the state's attorney's office. And at that time, I just didn't like the culture of the office.
Mm-hmm.
It was more so, I just didn't like how I saw them going so hard to prosecute Black and brown people for minor offenses. So I knew back then that, maybe I wouldn't want to start there as being a prosecutor. And again, going back to understanding why someone did something and not necessarily, what they did, it led me to the defense side, because I feel like we all have a voice, and sometimes, we find ourselves in situations that we didn't intentionally mean to put ourselves in, but every dog has his day.
Right.
And just to be able to help people and be an advocate for people who may not have a voice is really fulfilling for me. So that's why I chose criminal defense.
Yeah, that's really an awesome thing. And I'm pretty sure, as a criminal defense attorney, in one manner, you probably face a lot of problems. And I'm just off the top of my head, maybe negative public perception, media coverage. Heck, even I'm pretty sure sometimes you have difficult clients. Like in a day for you, or dealing with the case, like how do you really sit down and handle the stress as you prepare, for a case?
Good question. So understanding that, you can do all that you can do and things still may not work out in your favor. And when I first meet clients, I'll tell them I never promise any outcome.
Mm,
Because you just never know. Nothing is absolute. So
right.
I don't promise any results. I'll tell them, what I intend to do, what their options are, and then we go from there. Also, taking into consideration that, as long as I do the best that I can,
Mm-hmm.
9 times out of 10, the client will see that you're fighting on their behalf,
Right.
and at the end of the day, they know that it's really not up to you to decide. So
Mm.
that that alleviates some of the stress
Some of
and
the stress.
tension.
Mm-hmm. And really like, and I've always wanted to ask an attorney this, like, and I don't want this to sound wrong, but like in your mind sometimes, and I don't like in your mind, like 'cause this is the human side. I guess I really
Mhm.
want to talk about like as a human being. Like sometimes in your mind, you like, man, this dude right here, like I don't know if I can really. I mean, it's your job to get them off or defend them.
Mhm.
But like sometimes, like you just come across that case, like sometimes you just scratch your head, like, "Whoo, I got my work cut out." Because one, I don't even know. I don't say I don't believe him, but like bro, you're wrong, and you know what I'm saying. Like, do you just like question it sometimes? Like, why am I taking on this case? And like, can you really win this case? You know what I'm saying? Like, to
Yeah.
me, it just feel like just
So
that human side that.
um, there was one particular case that I was involved with where it's just the facts weren't on our side. And
Mm-hmm.
you explained that again. I think the crucial part of it all is honesty, and just being really transparent at the onset of
Mm-hmm.
representation.
Mm-hmm.
Again, that goes back to not making any promises.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I like to structure, under promise, over deliver.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, and it's just again, may the chips fall where they may.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and that doesn't mean you don't care. It's just that you understand that at some point you have to relinquish control and trust the process.
Mm.
Um, so that's what that is what helps me.
Right.
Um, and each day is a learning day. You're not going to understand, or you're not going to get it the first time, or
Right.
what have you. But again, I think it goes back to just being transparent at the onset of the case.
I like that. Just being as transparent and being as real as possible.
Mm-hmm.
With your client. I love that you're, for someone I don't want to say young, but at your age to really have come
I'm
full.
young. I'm still
Well, well,
young.
well,
I'm
well. Yeah,
young.
look, I don't like. I've come to learn we don't talk about women's age here. We don't. But I know you're younger than I am. But to come to that understanding,
Mhm.
that really talks a lot. I think to me about who you are and your character as a person, and that's the type of legal representation that I would prefer. Sometimes we have these hustlers out here
Mhm.
that's really just taking on cases just I mean, let's call it what it is, make that money. But
Exactly.
you seem like you show some care. And I want to talk in too also to you about like just take a moment like from the criminal defense side, like services, like even for those who are not really sure, because some of us unfortunately we have family members that need criminal defense. So what would that look like? Hey, if I'm a new client or prospective client and I reach out to you, and I need some help, like what would that look like and what type of service um, would you be able to provide like for someone who's listening or watching right now?
So anything criminal defense, except for at the appellate level, I do not do appeals.
Mm,
So at district court, district court of Maryland or circuit court of Maryland. So anything ranging from a traffic offense to a felony.
mm.
I've handled again traffic offenses to attempted murders. So
Wow, wow.
it's a wide range of things. People automatically hear when they hear criminal defense, they just think of like hardened criminals.
Right.
But no, the average person commits at least one crime a day, whether you know it or not.
Oh, wow.
If a minor offense
Wow.
or a major offense, and not even sometimes, sometimes in some, depending on which jurisdiction you're in, if you jaywalk, that's a crime.
Oh,
That's an
true.
offense.
True.
So people really don't think of it like that. Again, they just think of,
True.
oh, I need a criminal defense attorney, or this person must have had a DUI or committed a murder, or sold X amount of drugs. But no, minor offenses. You'll be surprised how many people get pulled over for not having or not using the proper turn signals, or
True.
not having the proper equipment, as far as like tags and a headlight may be out. So, and you'll get pulled over for that. And that's when you'll call me.
So that's interesting, because what is it that you think? Let's just say, if for someone listening, like what? Because I don't know if you can avoid it, because I didn't really pay attention to it like you just broke it down. Someone makes an offense, you said what, almost once a day? And I mean, it's like, that's just astounding to me, that fact. So how would someone, let's say, I don't know, can we say stay up on laws, or is there somewhere that people can go or to follow you? Because one of the things that I noticed that you do, which I think is great, and this is part of the reason why I'm bringing it up, you do, like, you have a tip that you share a day on your, I think it's TikTok.
It was TikTok and Instagram. I haven't done that in a while, and I am going to start. It was Legal Minute Mondays, where I presented the law in 60 seconds or less. And I definitely am going to start back up. Life just started lifing. So I'm definitely going to pick that back up. But I do think it was a good piece to introduce the layperson to, the law and the meaning of it in that short amount of time. So I'm definitely going to bring that back. As far as looking up laws, I know the codes change frequently, and laws do change every session. And it all depends on which laws are being, I guess, I don't want to say written, but which laws are in the progress of being made and things like that. But actually, as cliche as it may sound, a quick Google search. A quick Google search, and maybe like ever so often, I think it's like around October 1st, if you notice, like the news stations or publications, news programs and newspapers, they'll put out certain laws, if any, that have been changed, amended. So
that drives me to a question. This is really a sidebar, because we talk about laws being amended. Like, a lot of our laws in this country are just outdated. Even like state, local laws, sometimes every now and then you hear in the news where somebody's hit with a law that's, I don't know, 100 years old, that you how as a citizen, I'm like, why these laws still exist, first of all, and how do we, or can we, if any, get these laws not only amended but erased? Like, is that something that's even possible? I know it's kind of off the top, but I mean, I'm just curious.
Now, to my understanding, I don't know. I really don't know the process of how we go about getting like a law replaced or amended, because we have, of course, like national laws, and then each state has their specific state codes. So, for an example, technically slavery is still on the books in Louisiana.
Right.
And that's state specific. So I think it's just, I'm not going to say it's just, but I know, of course, it's legislation involved. I don't know if there needs to be a certain amount of petition signed. I'm really not too sure about how we go about getting certain laws changed. I guess that would be something you have to petition to your local congressman, and it would just have to work its way up the totem pole.
Okay, I don't know. You
do not judge me on that. I do not know.
No judgment, no judgment. And I'm sorry, but that was just one of those things. Like, when you hear, and we're talking about laws in the minute, I don't know why, and that's why I say that sometimes it's random with me. I just hear things that just make me just curious.
Right.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is not Ebony's forte. So please don't. We're just talking here.
I'm not a policy attorney.
Right. So we just talking here. Just two people talking. I just thought I would just ask an attorney. Look, that we're gonna leave it there. All right. But when we come back, ladies and gentlemen, I'm gonna take a quick pause for the cause. And I also want to come back, though, because Ebony, you also do personal injury.
Correct.
And I also want to take some time to talk about that as well. So, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to go ahead and step away. I'm going to take a quick pause for the cause. I want to shout out our sponsors here at Two Mics Up, and we'll be right back after the break. RTB Legal Services, raising the bar. The sis is really doing big things out in Baltimore, Maryland, and she not only does criminal defense like we were talking about in the first half of the show, but she also does personal injury law. And as I was doing this here, first of all, can you explain to us what personal injury law is? And second, I think there's some misconceptions when it comes to personal injury. So can you talk about that as well?
Okay, so personal injury, it is the civil side of criminal defense. That's what I always say. Mm-hmm. So instead of the state bringing charges against you, it's another person or a corporation. It's the civil side. So products liability, if a manufacturer or a seller has sold a bad product, that encompasses product liability, negligence actions. So when there has been some sort of negligent act, which we'll see most likely like car accidents, slip and falls, wrongful death. So everything, again, that if someone does something to you, there may be a remedy for it. Okay.
So what are some of the misconceptions though when people are dealing with personal injury in the sense of, I don't know, do they misidentify, misclaim, misfile? Like what are some of the things that maybe you've come across when talking to people or trying to direct them in the right direction?
I really don't get any, I really don't hear that a lot. Okay. But I guess when I do hear it, thinking of personal injury, you're literally thinking there is a injury towards my personal or my person. Right. Literally. And, it could be literal, like you can have a literal injury, or it can just be an economic damage or some sort of damage. But the name just derives from, it's more personal. It's happened to, like a person, or again, some sort of entity is bringing suit or being sued, whereas it's not the government bringing suit against someone.
Got you.
So, but they still laws to protect consumers. So it's like the consumer side, government side, civil side, criminal side.
Got you. So I have to ask them, for you, what has it been like? So when we met, we were kind of coming out of the pandemic, I guess you can say. I'm curious to know for you, like, how has or did the pandemic impact you positively or negatively? And if it did impact you negatively, like, how have you been able to pivot and really stay afloat and kind of keep yourself grinding and moving forward during these tough times?
Well, I will say the first thing, pandemic didn't stop anything. It just shifted things a little bit.
Okay.
It made the creativity come out of us. Entrepreneurs, we had to sink or swim. And so luckily the courts, they transitioned over to virtual. So that helped a little bit. In the beginning, it was a little rough transitioning from, being inside the court to having, they were picking up, I believe they were picking juries on Zoom, and
Oh wow.
they were conducting hearings on Zoom,
Oh wow.
entering pleas on Zoom, just having full blown cases on Zoom.
Mm-hmm.
So now, of course, we're back in the courthouse, but we had to, as entrepreneurs, no matter what field you were in, we had to find a way to pivot and just make it work for us.
Mm-hmm. That's
And it
tough.
was good. Actually, I made the most money in 2020. So
Wow. Okay. Look. Okay. Look, I'm
bring
not
on the
mad.
pandemic, no. But
Look, I'm not mad at that.
yeah, so it was good. And when you are a true believer, I don't mean to get, spiritual or
Mhm.
religious on your platform, but when you are a true believer, nothing stops.
That's right.
Nothing
That is so
stops.
true.
And
That's right.
that's the whole theme that got me through.
That's what's up. And I hope y'all heard that. Nothing stop. You got to keep that faith, man. Keep that belief. Where there's a will, there is a way. I totally agree with everything that you're saying on that one,
And
Ebony.
also
Because
remember, if he brought you to it, he's going to bring you through it. So
look
that
here. Look, you ain't never lie. Look, I know our spirit is well within two mics up. Y'all hearing it today on today's episode. If you got to play that back a couple of times, play it back so you understand what she's saying, and it's really so true. And moving forward, then for you, what if someone is listening, or if there's someone out here, like, what is the perfect referral for you, if you would, that someone should be really listening and heart and honing in on, that you can really help them out, that may be in need? Because I don't want to talk about it. I want you to go ahead and give our network spiel. Who is your perfect referral?
Okay, so my perfect referral for criminal defense would be someone who has received a court summons, state of Maryland versus insert name. And it will be you can either have a traffic ticket, a traffic offense if you don't want points on your license, from you've been charged with a murder.
Mm,
From the low end to the high end, I'm
wow.
here to help you. Personal injury, anyone who has been involved in a car accident and they were not the at-fault driver, and they've been injured, whether the injuries are minor or severe, that is my ideal referral.
Mm. There we go, ladies and gentlemen. So you heard it here. We're going to go ahead and make sure we probably give that little snippet, because I think that's really important that people really walk away with. Um, if you're really in need and assistance, this is the sister that you want to reach out to. This is the attorney that you want in your corner, because she cares. And she's going to be as transparent and real. You don't want no fluff attorney. It's just going to take your money and run. You have someone that's going to care, is transparent, is going to keep you in the loop with everything. So I'm curious, Ebony, moving forward now.
Mm-hmm.
Um, where else do you see, like, is maybe expansion uh in the plans for you in RTB, legal services? Like, what's on the horizon? What else are you cooking up, maybe in the background, as you look forward to continue to grow?
Well, I'm currently working on an ebook. Hopefully, it'll
Okay.
be done within the next month or so. It is an ebook for those who decide to represent themselves in court.
Wow.
It will be a guide to pro se representation. So pro se parties are those who do not have an attorney, and it will not be a step by step type of book, but it will just be a short ebook that's easy to read, where the average reader, after completing the book, would have a general sense of court terminologies, paperwork, the steps, the processes, and how things go. Like I said, general terms that you'll hear. They'll leave having a general sense of the court processes and what to expect.
Yeah, that right there is so awesome right there. That is really dope. And you know, I just have to ask, like, what was the inspiration, or what was the thought behind it? Because I feel like myself, and I think we talk, I was a criminal justice major, and I was
Mhm.
into politics at one time in my life, and in law. Do you find that that's something that's really needed more so in the Black and brown community, just to be able to have some understanding of sometimes what you're facing or what you could be looking at when dealing with the legal system?
Absolutely. The motivation for the ebook came from, I always get I have one question. It's never a one question. It's never a one size fits all answer. We always get joked about attorneys when someone asks a question. We'll always say it depends or maybe. And no, we're not saying that because we don't want to help you. We're saying that because it literally depends. In law, the resolution of something could be made by using the words shall or may. Shall or may, they may seem the distinction may seem very minute, but in law, it is a big difference. So understanding that the answer to your question, it really could depend. So I would like to have a resource where I could kind of guide them to answer that frequently asked question. And then in turn, if you needed more in-depth understanding, then you'll have to book a consult. But I do think we, especially black and brown people, we need some sort of guide. And again, it's not going to be language that the everyday person wouldn't be able to understand. Right. If someone feels comfortable enough with representing themselves, I just think that they need to be equipped with common terminology and be familiar with the different steps and again processes that they may have to undergo.
Well, we're going to make sure I'm going to get that information from you when you have that, and we're going to go ahead and share that with everybody. And speaking of sharing, before we go, please go ahead and drop your social media information so that we can go ahead and make sure that our audience, if in need and really want to go ahead and get your assistance, can make sure that they can reach out to you directly. So take a moment to go ahead and share your social media before we close out.
So my social media, I am on Instagram. It is RTB as in boy, Legal Services LLC. I am on TikTok, the same at RTB Legal Services LLC, or maybe Legally Gorgeous One. I'm not sure. I don't get on TikTok. But the best way to contact me is at 410-240-0503, or you can shoot me an email. That's evincent@RTB as in boy, legalservices.com.
There you go, ladies and gentlemen. There you have it. Ebony Vincent Esq. She's doing great work, y'all. I'm telling you, go out and support this attorney that's really helping our community to do so much more and really helping breaking down barriers that sometimes that we are dealing with in our daily lives and our daily journey. Ebony, thank you for taking time out today to sit here and talk with me and share the work that you're doing. I wish you nothing but continued success. And if there's anything that we can do here on Two Mics Up, anything you have coming up or you want to share the book and everything, please let me know. And we'll go ahead and support you and your work here on our platform as well.
Well, thank you so much, Damon, for having me.
Oh,
it's been a pleasure to talk to you.
It's been my pleasure, sis. Thank you so much. So there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. It's another episode of Two Mics Up in the books. You can follow Two Mics Up online, www.twomicsup.com. You can follow us across all our social media, IG, Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube at Two Mics Up. If you happen to be watching it still on YouTube, hey, that's cool. But make sure you go ahead, you go down there, you hit that bell so you can be notified by all the newest content coming to you from me here at Two Mics Up. Leave me a comment, hit that thumbs up. Let me know if you like it, you don't like it. Let me know what's going on. But we are on Mogul TV Monday nights, 8 p.m. Check us out. Check out the other episodes and check out some of my Global TV castmates or showmates that's rocking every Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday throughout the week. So thank you again, ladies and gentlemen. Like we always do at this time, stay safe, stay blessed. Mics out. 007.